Good morning 10th class students. In previous class, NS third lesson transportation, in that we learnt about blood pressure. Once again I repeat, normal blood pressure is 120/80. 120 numerator indicates systolic pressure, denominator indicates diastolic pressure. And also I explained about hypertension, high BP. What are the reasons for high BP? I explained. Now I will explain about next topic in third lesson, transportation, that is called coagulation of blood. What is meant by coagulation? Coagulation means clotting of blood. Clotting of blood at the time of injuries. What is meant by injury? Cutting of blood vessel. Blood come outside of the wounds, no? The blood will be clot within 3 to 5 minutes. It is very essential to save us from overbleeding. If coagulation does not take place, if clotting does not take place, what will happen? Blood flows from the wound. This leads to the cause death of person. That's why blood will clot within 3 to 6 minutes. 3 to 6 minutes. So a systematic way will be there to clot the blood at the time of injuries. Now I will explain about the flow chart which shows about coagulation of blood. Do you know, children, at the time of injuries, blood, already we know that blood have three types of cells: red blood cells, white blood cells, blood platelets. Do you know, at the time of injuries, blood platelets present in blood releases an enzyme known as thrombokinase. It is a enzyme released from blood platelets present in the blood at the time of injuries. This thrombokinase acts on a substance called prothrombin. A substance known as prothrombin. This prothrombin present in the blood. So this is the enzyme which acts on a substance known as prothrombin. What is that? Prothrombin, and converts into thrombin. A thrombokinase enzyme which helps to convert prothrombin into thrombin. Next, another substance called thrombin acts on a substance known as fibrinogen. What is that? Fibrinogen into fibrin. A substance called thrombin acts on another substance known as fibrinogen and converts into fibrin. This fibrin helps to convert soluble fibers into insoluble fibers. Keep it in mind. This fibrin helps to convert soluble fibers present in the blood into insoluble fibers. These insoluble fibers pull the wounded edges, and this takes place helpful for wounding healing. So this is the way which helpful for blood clotting. This process takes place within 3 to 6 minutes after injury. Once again, I repeat the flow chart which shows about blood clotting. So at the time of injuries, injury means rupture or cutting of blood vessel. Blood platelets present in the blood releases the enzyme known as thrombokinase. What is that? Thrombokinase. This thrombokinase acts on a substance known as prothrombin. What is that? Prothrombin, and converts into thrombin. This thrombin acts on another substance known as fibrinogen. What is that? Fibrinogen, and converts into fibrin. This fibrin helps to convert soluble fibers into insoluble fiber. Soluble fibers into insoluble fibers. This insoluble fiber helps to pull the wounded edges. This process takes place within 3 to 6 minutes. Okay. After blood clotting, we can find out a fluid which formed on blood clot, that is called serum. What is that? Serum is the liquid portion which formed on wound after blood clotting. Do you know, children? Plasma is another fluid which present in the blood before blood clotting. After blood clotting, we can find out a slippery a liquid which is slippery to touch, that is called serum. It is formed after blood clotting, and plasma is present in the blood before blood clotting. And another substance called as heparin. What is that? Heparin helps to prevent blood clotting in blood vessels. Blood clotting in blood vessels. Heparin is the substance which present in the blood vessel, which helpful to prevent blood clotting in blood vessels. Or we know that blood flow in blood vessel without any interruption with the help of a substance known as heparin. What is the injury? Rupture or cutting of blood vessels. Outside of the blood vessel there is no heparin. Already blood have blood platelets. These platelets helpful for blood clotting. Inside of the blood vessel, a substance will be that is called heparin. This heparin prevent blood clotting in the blood vessels. This is about coagulation of blood. All we know that already we learned in first lesson vitamin table. In that we learned which vitamin helpful for blood clotting. Vitamin K, that is called phylloquinone. Phylloquinone is a fat soluble vitamin, simply called as vitamin K, helpful for blood clotting. Okay, now another topic that is called hemophilia. Do you know, children? Hemophilia is a inherited disorder which blood will not coagulate. This is about transportation or circulatory system in animals. Now I will explain about next topic, transportation in plants. Do you know, children? Like animals, plants also essential several materials like minerals, water, and food is prepared in leaves must transported to all parts of the body. Here, how transportation takes place in plants. This picture shows us about how minerals along with water transported to all parts of the plant. Already we learned in 9th class about xylem and phloem. No, xylem is a tissue which helpful for transport of water, and phloem is the tissue which helpful to transport food material. Both united together is called vascular bundle. We learnt in first lesson TS of leaf. In that we learnt about xylem and phloem. Xylem helpful to transport water, phloem helpful to transport food material. These are the two tissues known as vascular tissues you learnt in 9th class, which helpful for transportation of water and food. Water from roots to all parts of the plant against gravitational force, and food from leaves to all parts of the plant transported by phloem. Water is transported by xylem, food is transported by phloem. This is about transportation in plant. Now I will explain about how water is transported by roots with the help of a picture known as LS of root hair. LS means, all we know that LS means longitudinal section. If you cut the root vertically, longitudinal section, that is called LS of root hair. To observe how water is transported by roots, first you have to take seeds like mustard. Mustard means aval or beans, whatever it may be. And soak for whole night. And or soak for one day. After that, you have to take out seeds from bowl and you have to keep it in a tissue paper. After that, if you observe, we can find out some white color structures come outside from seeds. They are called root. Radicle. If you will observe that seeds, we can find out some white color structure. No, this is called radicle. Radicle means root. So observe the radicle part which comes from seed with the help of hand lens. Now we can find out a fine structures, microscopic structures in that root, that is called root hair. Do you know, children? Root hair are the structures which helpful to absorb water from soil and send to all parts of the plant by xylem. Now I will explain about how water is transported by root hair. For this already we took some seeds, mustard or beans, whatever it may be, soak for a day. After that we can find out some sprouts, germinating seeds in that. Now with the help of hand lens if you will observe the radicle or root portion, we can find out microscopic structures known as root hair. So we can observe root hair with the help of microscope only. This is the picture which shows about root hair, how water is transported in plants by root hair. Now see here, do you know children, these are soil particles. These are soil particles. This is root hair. This is root hair. If you will observe in soil, in between of soil particles, we can find out soil space. If you will observe in between of sand particles or soil particles, we can find out some space known as soil space. These are epidermal cells. Okay, now these are root hair and this is called cell sap. Cell sap. Now I will explain how water is absorbed by root hair and how water is transported all parts of the plant against gravitational force with the help of xylem vessels. Now, first one, when you pour water to plants, very important in the exam point of view, explain how root hair absorbs water from soil with the help of a neat labeled diagram. This is the picture which shows about how root hair absorbs water from soil. Do you know children? When you pour water to plants, at first only some amount of water only reach to the soil particles. In between of soil particles, there is soil space. When you pour water to the plant, when you pour water to the soil, at first some amount of water reach to the soil space. If you will observe at first, the amount of water will be low and the salts present in the soil will be more. Keep it in mind children. At first, when you pour water to the soil, at first the amount of water which reach to the soil is less and salts present in the soil will be high. So that is called concentrated salt solution. What do you mean by concentrated salt solution? If the solution contains less water and more salts, that is called concentrated salt solution. Now the concentrated salt solution enters into the first cell of root hair, that is called cell sap. Keep it in mind, very important. The exam point of view, they will ask for one mark question. What is meant by cell sap? The first cell of root hair which contain concentrated salt solution. What do you mean by concentrated salt solution? The solution which contain more solute or more salts and less solvent or water is called concentrated salt solution. The first cell of root hair which contain concentrated salt solution, that is called cell sap. If you observe, after some time the more water reach to the soil space. So at first concentrated salt solution is formed. Afterwards the concentrated salt solution may become diluted salt solution. What do you mean by diluted salt solution? The solution which contain less solvent and more salts. Less solvent means here water, here solute means salts. So that is called diluted salt solution. So already the first cell of root hair have more concentrated solution. No? The more concentrated solution enter into the neighboring cells. Neighboring means side cells. So the diluted salt solution replace the concentrated salt solution. So here concentrated salt solution, side cells means that contain diluted salt solution. Diluted concentrated salt solution. Like this, the water finally reach to the epidermal cells. Later, the water enter into the xylem vessels and transported to all parts of the plant against gravitational force. If you will observe in plants, we can find out two-way directional growth. For example, if you will take stem grows towards the sunlight and root grows towards the gravity. So, the water present in the soil must transported to all parts of the plants from roots against gravitational force with the help of a pressure known as root pressure. Again, in the next class I will explain about root pressure. So this is about how water reaches to the plant from soil by roots. Once again I repeat how water is transported in plants with the help of root hair. When you pour water to plants, at first some amount of water reaches to the soil and filled into soil space. Some amount of water. If you will observe at first, the water content will be low and salt content will be high. That is called concentrated salt solution. That is called concentrated salt solution. Afterwards, some amount of water again reach to the soil space to form diluted salt solution. At first, concentrated salt solution. Later, this turns into diluted salt solution. Diluted salt solution means the solution which contain less water and more water and less salts. So the first concentrated solution enters into the first cell of root hair, that is called cell sap. Now the diluted salt solution replaces the concentrated salt solution. Like this, water finally reached to the epidermal cells. There onwards, the water reached to the xylem vessels and transported to all parts of the plant against gravity. Like this, water reached to the leaves. If you will observe in leaves, we can find out veins. Already we learned veins will be, midrib will be. There we can find out xylem. This xylem is helpful to supply water to all parts of the leaves. So this is about how water is reached to the soil, how water is absorbed by root hair. In the next class, I will explain about how water is transported within the plants. I will explain in the next class. Okay? Thank you, children.